Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Williams. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Williams. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3.
Politics done right.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Run. I'm Egberto Williams, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. As you can see from the intro, I'm trying to wake up, folks. I'm trying to wake up. Yesterday was one of those days. Was that debate crazy or what? Again, folks, was that debate crazy or what? I mean, after the debate, I had to go on a rant because, you know what? I was pretty darn, what's the word? Should I say pretty darn upset? Yeah, I was upset. And why was I upset? I was upset because I thought to be as nice as I can. First of all, the first thing about the debate, where the hell did those questions come from? Do you really think they really had any substantive questions or questions other than questions to try to be sort of a gotcha to the Democrats? Like, kids, raise your hands if you believe everybody should lose their private health insurance. That's not the question. Raise your hands if you are going to give health care to foreigners or to illegal, undocumented immigrants. You know, let's see who can be the meanest person on the planet to deny people coverage. I mean, you think about those questions, right? Let me tell something, and you know, those things go across well for some people. But let me tell you about when you travel overseas, right? If you are a traveler or if you're an American going somewhere else. Nobody is trying to deny you credit, deny you service, deny you health care. They want to be as nice to you as somebody from somewhere else coming into their country. And that when Americans go over to many other countries, you know, when we go over to other countries, we kind of go there with a chip on our shoulder now. But, you know, folks try to be nice to you. Most of the time, nice to you. Maybe not in France, but many other places try to be nice to you. But we come out here and we want to ask questions like, what are we going to do for the immigrants? Are we going to really be... where did that first group of selfish feelings come from? You know, well, I guess if you have a president that comes down the stairs initially and starts his campaign by saying, I'm going to get all you Mexicans out of here and all you Mexicans are rapists. Hello, Senor Hines. Raising hands was very childish. Thank you, Tom Hines, and welcome aboard. But we're going to have a great show today. And we're going to, I'm going to tell you about the show in a little bit. Let me just refresh your screen to see what it's going to be like here. But we're going to have a good show. And the reason we're going to have a good show is that we are going to be substantive. Unlike the mainstream media, except for a few people, like Alivelle, she tries to get some good stuff on, but we are going to be substantive. I want you to please make sure to share these programs. More than ever, we are going to need these programs shared because a lot of misinformation, and I'm going to show you that later on in the program. A lot of the misinformation is well designed, well made, well engineered. And thus, the only way that we are going to get around it, the absolutely only way that we're going to get this misinformation is for us to establish our realms of trust, our domains of trust, where we can use geometric progression to illuminate what's going on. What do I mean by that? Let's say you're on Facebook. I'm using Facebook, but it could just as well be Facebook. It could be Twitter. It could be Tumblr. It could be Snapchat. It could be anything. Wherever you are, you have a set of people that trust you, a set of people that are listening to you. And what we want to do with that is you have to be the source of intelligent information for these people. Because it's not going to come, it is absolutely not going to come from the mainstream media at all, at all, at all. So we are going to have to do this on our own. We're going to have to do this by our lonesome. We're going to have to do this by ourselves. Welcome, Michael D. Newton. Thank you very much for being here. I'll read your comment in a little bit. So, folks, let's get started with the program. Title of the program, Democratic Debate Day 2, Medicare for All, Deception and Informing Democrats. Subtitle, the 2 days of the Democratic debate are over. It is now the time to evaluate and tie the candidates' words to policy. Most importantly, we must untangle the deception coming from many sides. And unfortunately, much of that deception as well is coming from our own. Folks that one would think are on our sides, but when you listen to their arguments, it's immediately evident who they're there to serve, and it's not you. Who they are there to serve, and it is not you. And that includes many Democrats that were on the stage yesterday. They were not there to serve you. We are here to serve the entire America, entire United States of America. That's our goal. Our goal is to put the information out there. Our goal is to tell it to you straight. Our goal is to make sure that you know. You don't follow the crap that you're going to see on many of the TV stations, the crap that you're going to hear from many of the candidates, including Democratic candidates owned solely by corporations to rip you off and to put within the ethos lies that scare you to death, that put you in conflict with your friends, that put you in conflict with your family, that put you in conflict with your own well-being. That is what we're going to be talking about constantly between now and 2020 and beyond. And let me tell you why. Don't go away. Please stay and listen to what we're talking about here, because it's important. You know, after the debate, you know, you watch TV and you listen to what they have to say. I got so disappointed into some folks that I actually considered unbiased reporters, unbiased journalists, unbiased hosts. Because these are people that know better. Thankfully, there was one young woman that gave me hope today. Her name is Zerlina Maxwell. She was on MSNBC. And she was the one. The only real reporter of, that I should say, of substance out there to come out straightly and tell what Biden needs to do. Because so many of them, oh, no, it's not a death. What Biden did wouldn't, and not, it's not all that bad. He'll still be the front runner, and they don't get it. But we'll go into that in a little bit. Anyhow, continuing with the program, Democratic Debate. Day 2 was more action but less substantive. Day 2 of the first Democratic debate seemed like a verbal wrestling match. It was sad to see Biden attempting to be as unapologetic as Trump. Many give us a hard time because there is a false belief that only Biden can beat Trump. The truth is, Biden, when placed under opposition research, will crumble under Trump. For those of you that are Biden supporters here, I mean, I understand the mystique for those of you who are supporting Biden because you genuinely like Biden. And I don't have anything against Biden from a personal standpoint, but he cannot win. And for those of you who solely are gravitating to Biden because you have been led to believe that only Biden can win those great white working class voters, forget it. That's not going to happen. The way that we are going to win the white working class voters is to give. I'm going to talk to you about something I said on Tamara for Georgia's program earlier today. But I'll be frank, I cannot believe that the Democratic establishment can be this naive, and I don't think they are naive at all. The only thing I can presume is that they want to leave us that the economic collapse we are on a path to does not fall on Democrats. If that is the case, they should think mitigation instead of cowering. I have a typo in there, but what I'm trying to say there is simple. Look, the Democratic establishment cannot be this goofy, cannot be this naive, cannot be this silly. There is a trove of information on Joe Biden. There's the emails or the mail that the Post has gotten that shows Joe Biden was really an anti-busing guy. The email that shows that he had a cordial relationship with desegregationists. I mean, there's so much out there that folks are starting to look up now. And you know what? This is really not saying that Biden is like this super bad guy. Biden is no different than many of the other senators back then. I mean, these guys were into survival mode, whether they were really progressive at heart or not. There's just certain things that you had to do to abide. There are just certain things that you had to do to survive. People understand that when you were in the Jim Crow era, there are certain things we understand. But come out and say, you know what? I was either a coward then, or maybe say something to the effect like, you know, I did that, but my heart was somewhere else really, but I did that to abide, or I don't think my constituency would have gone along with me, so I had to. I mean, say something that makes sense. Don't just say that this woman is wrong, or I mean, it does not become. You're defeating the purpose. You're playing with somebody else's intelligence. Now, I got a call, and even though I have some more to say before the call, I'm going to go ahead and take the call. So bear with me a little bit. Caller, I'll be with you in a second. I will be with you shortly. In fact, I'm going to pick it up right now. Let me just go ahead and issue a quick share and close this baby down, and then I will be with you right away. Let's see. Okay. All right. Let's go to the caller. All right, caller, come on in. I think you're from 209.
Hey, Berto. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Who am I speaking to? Sally.
Sally.
I thought it sounded like Sally. How are you doing, Sally?
I'm still here.
Well, you know,
I'm in an extended Facebook jail this time, so I've been watching through Periscope. It all has to do. I don't really want to take away from your topic today. It has to do with album art and their so-called community standards, and it's kind of like my little protest. And I haven't, anyway. But to be honest with you, I'm on Twitter as well, and I'm actually enjoying Twitter a lot more than I did Facebook. So I might not go back.
You know, a lot of people have been telling me that. Did you kind of up your Twitter following, or did you just kind of create some list of people you wanted to follow?
Who, me?
Yeah, on Twitter.
Well, actually, my Twitter account I created back in 2014 to follow my sons, but so I kind of just came back during this incarceration in Facebook.
I got it. Anyhow, talk to me. Let me hear what you got to say.
Oh, that debate last night was a joke and a circus. I was so disappointed. Nothing of substance really got said. And I tuned in 12 minutes late and thought I tuned in to the Mayor Pete show. because that was all I saw or heard from, and
I hear you. I hear you. It was an interesting debate. I think it was a terrible debate. First of all, I think the questions that they asked were childish questions. I thought they were gotcha questions.
Oh.
You mean, who asked a question like raise your hands?
But not only that, if you noticed, half the time Joe never raised his hand, but they still went to him anyway.
Right. Well,
and he was like a deer in the headlights.
You know, I'll be. You know, I am not really an ageist, right? But I'm a baby. I am between a Gen Xer and a baby boomer. I like to claim I'm at the end of the Gen Xers. I refuse to just claim baby boomer generation. But here's the deal. There are certain. I work with a lot of local groups and other groups around the country, and one of the things I constantly say at my age is it's time for the younger people to sort of get involved and take over, right? I kind of loved what Swalwell had to say when he told a story about Joe Biden been there coming over to his school saying, "Hey, it's time to pass the torch," and here it is 30 years after he's yet to pass the torch. And I think a lot of us, it's time to pass the torch. You know, I mean, the truth of the matter is, we've screwed things up well enough. I mean, I think the baby boom generation and the latter part of the Gen X generations have screwed things up very much. I heard a woman on my Facebook page who said,
please, well, you're speaking to a Bernie bro, so be cautious with that, because, you know, they might have, but these past 40 years, Bernie's been fighting the same fight that he's fighting today.
Oh, you know, let me. This stuff is not about, let's say, Bernie or whatever. Let me tell you, first of all, Bernie has the policy right. Bernie has had the policy right for a long time. I am not saying, look, you have the policy right, Sally. I have the policy right. I don't know how old you are, but I'm not going to run for congressman or anything like that. And the reason why I'm not going to do that is I want younger people to take over. I want younger people to get the experience. I think Nancy Pelosi, one of her biggest mistakes is not having a bench of younger people. I mean, even the Republicans had a bench of younger people when they had Paul Ryan and all these other guys. Not that they were any good, because it doesn't matter what. If your policy is bad, it doesn't matter what the age of the folks that you get out there. So that's just the name of the game, right?
Mm-hmm. All right. And back to the debate.
Yes.
I would much rather have seen Mike Gravel up there instead of that Marianne Moonbeam Williamson. I swear she was on mushrooms or something. Her answers were so.
You know, Sally, it's funny that you said she was on mushrooms, right? Because when I started to hear her speak, it was kind of interesting to listen to her. And, you know, it was like being in a psychedelic thing, you know. But, you know, I like her. I mean, listen, on a debate stage that wasn't very appealing, she was kind of nice. Now, let me tell you, Kamala Harris, I think, did something that's important. But let me ask you to do me a favor. Stay on the line. Stay here. I want to bring in 973 and see what 973 has to say. Come on in, 973.
Hey, Alberto, how are you today?
I am doing fine. Who do I have the honor of speaking to other than Sally?
It is Johnny. How are you?
All right, Johnny, talk to me.
Okay, listen, we got a couple of issues to go over real quick. One, I had to give Kamala Harris great applause for her performance last night. I thought she did an excellent job. I don't think she has a chance of winning because of what Barack Obama has done to the American descendants of slaves. He, as Mitch McConnell said, he is our reparations. And so because Barack Obama is our reparations, we actually have to look at Kamala Harris's background. Is she really ABOS? And the answer is no. She is black, yes, but she is Jamaican and she is Canadian. And listen, I love her, but at the same time, I can't support her. And let me just give you one thing before I go. I think the real issue here is who is going to be the president if total gridlock versus when you have Congress on your side. I would argue with Congress on your side, it's Elizabeth Warren, because she's the best ideas. And I feel like she can get stuff done. But if there's total gridlock and the president becomes a person who is kind of just symbolic. And you need a person to just symbolize something. I don't think that fits in Elizabeth Warren. I don't think that fits Biden. I think the person who, in a gridlock situation, and it's just pure symbolism, I don't know. I mean, and to me, parsing out that part of it is just very tricky because
it seems like you have an idea. Who is that person that you think? You have an idea. I could hear it on the tip of your tongue.
Well, I mean, it's hard to say because at the end of the day...
No, say it. Say it.
Mayor Pete.
I know that's who you're going to say. I knew that's exactly who you're going to say. And the reason you say Mayor Pete, but the problem is Mayor Pete won't pass the Republican test because he's gay. Yeah. I mean,
the Republican does the United
Let me tell you what we
States
need. Wait, let Sally say what she... Come on in, Sally.
Oh, you said Mayor Pete wouldn't pass the Republican test. He would not pass the nation test. We're not at that point yet.
Well,
we really aren't, and that is his.
Let me tell you what I'm thinking, my dear brothers and sisters. Let me tell you what I'm thinking. Okay, I am actually very optimistic. I think we are going to have a very rough next 7 or 8 months, right? I think we are going to coalesce around somebody that is actually a very progressive person. And after we coalesce around that progressive person, we are going to fight like hell. And the people that I mean going to fight like hell are progressives. And then what we are going to do is we are going to go out and get the message out. We are going to get the real Medicare for All message. Y'all going to see a video that I'm going to show in a little bit. We're going to get the real Medicare for All message out. We're going to get the real message of progressiveness out. And I'm going to tell you how we are going to do that. I'm very, very optimistic. In as much as we saw crap last night, it wasn't as bad the night before. But I am optimistic as far as how we are going to get it done. And it's not going to be through the main media. It's going to be through that Twitter account that Sally just set up. It's going to be through Politics Done Right. It's going to be through TYT. We are going to create a mobilization. It's going to be through emails. It's going to be through, we are going to do something different this time, progressives. We are going to use every means necessary. But what we need to...
Agreed.
And here's the deal.
But...
Let me finish. Hold on, Johnny. Hold on. And what we're going to do, how we are going to accomplish this stuff, my dear brother and sister, how we are going to accomplish this is first... We are gonna find a way to get all these groups. If you notice some of the folks that I brought on a guy from 2020 yesterday. We are going to get all these folks that are working in a disjointed fashion to finally come together. And there is a group out there that is starting to work on stuff like that. And I'm telling you, don't despair. We're coming. Go ahead, Johnny.
No, I agree with you, and I think that there's a grassroots movement in this country because of the fact that the wealth calcification has been so dramatic that I feel like the middle class has just been eviscerated to such an extent that it's actually bringing people together, and people are seeking out these alternative voices. So I think that's very compelling. I think it's very compelling. And then I would also say, this idea of how we get to share the wealth in America and the fact that we can now point the finger and say, look, capitalism is not working, and we can point to the school systems and how the privatization of the schools and white flight have killed our school systems to such an extent that we need a total overhaul.
Right, and
so this idea that capitalism is always the answer,
it is not. But let me tell you what I'm not going to do,
and I think everybody's on board.
Johnny, let me tell you what I'm not going to do. You'll hear me talk about capitalism a little bit. You'll hear me talk about socialism a little bit and all of that. But that is not going to be the core of my message. The core of my message is going to be what we need to do for you. What are the things you want? People can call it whatever they want to call it. But we're going to be talking about if we elect you, are we going to get X, Y, and Z? And when people start to label these things, we'll associate. If I tell you I want to give you family leave, and you say socialism, I am then going to say, should we then not give family leave? And then if they say, no, we should give family leave, I then say, do you still call that socialism then? And then, what I'm saying is progressive have been, they have been wrong in the way we approach the other side. We run from the labels. I'm saying don't run from the labels. Don't hold on to the labels. Hold on to the policy. Let them define it as the label, and then ask them if they want then to get rid of the policy. If we
start, can I just say something from an aesthetic standpoint?
Yes.
I felt that watching these debates over the last 2 days, I can only take back from this that for some reason the Democrats look unprepared.
They were unprepared, except for Kamala. Kamala was very prepared.
Seem to be prepared.
Kamala.
I'm sorry. Kamala was prepared.
Yes.
But my issues, but I don't think she's actually fully prepared. I like how she set the trap for Biden, and Biden looked,
May I interrupt for a second here?
Sure, go, Sally.
As a Californian that has lived with her as AG and as a congressperson and never voted for her when she ran for those positions, that woman does, oh my goodness. I'm pulling up article after article of what she didn't do or how she treated people, while she was here. To me, she has a personal agenda, and she belongs to part of the California corporatocracy, which is the fifth largest economy in the world.
And you know what? You know what's interesting, Sally?
And by the way, she also locked up people she locked up parents when their kids didn't go to school.
Right, and here's the deal. All of that's going to come out.
And now we're supposed to believe she's a progressive and cares about us.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
It's all self-serving. She performed well last night. I admit that, and had that great line about the food fight. But other than that,
Sally, let me tell you. Okay, all of this is going to come out, right? All of these things will come to pass, and that's good. The thing about it is, for me, what I think was good is that she had the capacity yesterday to what I think ultimately bring down Biden. Okay, she was the one who made the shot. Let me tell you how.
That's true.
And I kind of think that was staged. Because of the way they were giving people time to speak, and then when everybody was interrupting, who they would allow to talk.
No, it was staged. We know it was staged. In fact, when she brought it up, by the time she brought it up, her Twitter account, at just the right time, sent out the photo of her as a kid being bussed, or the kid that would have been busted. I mean,
that was crazy.
All of these things are staged. Okay, all of these things are staged. What I'm trying to say, though, is this: not because these things are staged means we not play the game. You and I and everybody who follows politics done right, all us progressives know what our ultimate goal is. We can actually use, like yesterday, Kamala was a great piece to use to hit Biden. Now, I'll be frank with you right up front. I have not studied a whole lot on Kamala. Everything that I've heard on Kamala so far had to do with her as AG and locking up a whole lot of folks.
Right.
Okay, that's what I know of her. And I will do more research now that she's coming into the first tier. Okay? So I think it is important for us, however, now, going forward, to go ahead and look at all these candidates and use these candidates where appropriate for our ultimate goal. But anyhow, I need to continue with the program.
I agree.
Go ahead real quick, Johnny.
You're saying that at the end of the day, that what we're trying to do is, by having these debates, we take the best ideas and make an amalgamation, and then the candidate that wins should amalgamate the best ideas from the Democratic Party and go forward.
Right, and then there's another piece to that, and the last piece is what we as progressives have not done. We slid with Obama by, because Obama was a black president, the first president, and we knew he was going to be under attack a whole lot. We allowed him to slide with a whole lot of stuff, which I think he would have appreciated if we forced him to do a lot of things that he hadn't done. So, we can't make that mistake again. And so what I'm saying is,
Agreed.
we have a lot to do. But Johnny, I want to continue with I have to continue with the program. Is there
Oh, I'm
anything else
sorry.
you want to
Yes,
say
thank
real
you.
quick?
Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you so kindly for being here. You want to stay on, Sally, because I know that you're in Facebook.
Oh no, I'll just listen. Thanks, Egberto. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you so kindly, Sally. Okay, folks. We want to move on to the. There's a video that I want to show all of you. Okay. We are now in the side of the program where we're going to discuss, and then the last part is going to be deception. But where I want to go to right now is on the Medicare for All deception that's occurring. And people that have been sending me messages on the both on Facebook and YouTube, I'm going to be getting to you guys in a little bit. Just let me show this stuff real quick, and then we'll be there. I want you to look at this. This is very, very important. Medicare for All. First of all, I'm going to give you an absolute statement. Medicare for All is absolutely more efficient than anything else because it's one payer and everybody has access. It comes out of general fund and there is one and only one risk pool. So you don't have insurance companies fighting for the healthiest people. We have a national health risk pool. So we look at everything nationally, which means we are as efficient as we can as a country. Now, this is the advertising that's going out there for Medicare for All now. And then I'm going to take it on the other side and tell you how dangerous, how wrong this is.
How long will you wait for care? In other countries with socialized health care, patients wait weeks, even months for treatment. Everyone forced into the same government plan, no matter how serious. Medicare for All would eliminate private insurance for 180 million people. You and every American waiting in the same government-run plan. How long will you wait?
And notice, very prominently, you have a website that it sends you to, and you can't miss it. It's a simple 30-second ad. It gives you the top line where it lies. You're going to wait, you're going to wait, you're going to wait. You can't get service, you can't get service, you can't get service. That is what they tell you. Just to tell you straight up, there is a listener to Politics Done Right. I told her story, and I told that her husband had a particular type of cancer, and they asked her, they decided to treat, the doctor decided what treatment they needed to do. They went to the insurance company, and it took them 2 months before they got approval to do the treatment on this person's cancer. 2 months, that's 8 weeks. Remember, no, go back to that ad. And by the way, this was a private insurance company. Anyone who has a private insurance company understands how things work. Do you have to wait for service? Yes. Why? Because they want to make you wait as long as you can to put your service as long as it can in the future. And two things happen. You either die, they say no, or you get less of it. It's important to understand, private healthcare is a crapshoot. Every now and then you may get a good person that's analyzing your request at the insurance company. They may say, okay, we're going to allow this procedure to go through or not. It's a crapshoot. There is no guarantee that you have private health insurance and you are going to get the service. They make it look to you, 180 million people are going to lose their private insurance. No. 180 million people are going to get insurance that they know they can use. 180 million people will get insurance that they know when they go into the hospital, they don't have to wait for service. If the service they need immediately. Will you wait for cataract surgery? Maybe, maybe not. Will you wait for a knee replacement? Maybe, maybe not. Is waiting for a knee replacement or cataract fatal or does anything negative to you? No. But if you have lung cancer, if waiting 2 months to get an insurance company to approve it Can that hurt you? Can that kill you? Yes. Is that happening with private insurance right now? Yes. Do you need to see a specialist with private insurance right now? Call, whether you need I tell you what, let's do the experiment right now. Anybody who is listening to this, whether on podcast, live or not, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor to prove my point. I am so sure of it, I can tell you to do it now. You need to see a specialist. Call your insurance company and tell them, or call your doctor's office and try to create an appointment for a kidney specialist, for a heart specialist, or for any one of these guys today. And tell me how long you have to wait, not for service, but for an appointment. They lie to you. They try to tell you that what you're seeing isn't true. On NPR 2 or 3 days ago, they asked the guy who has a complete coverage under the Affordable Care Act. His deductible for each person in the family, $7,000. His co-pays, very high. And his monthly amount for health insurance, $1,400 a month. So this man is paying $1,400 a month. And until he spends $7,000 on himself, $7,000 on anyone who would get sick. So therefore, before he can get coverage, 14 times 12, plus 7,000, before they pick up the tab, that's how much he has to pay out of pocket. Medicare for All does not do that. Medicare for All says you pay, your insurance rate is based on your income. Will your taxes go up? Yes. But guess what? You no longer have a premium. So let's say that guy's taxes go up. That guy who is paying $1,400 a month for health care, for health insurance. Let's say his taxes go up by $10,000. He has a profit of over $5,000 because guess what? It's only $1,000 out of taxes, but he doesn't pay a premium anymore. But it's even better. He doesn't have a copay. He doesn't have to pay. He doesn't have a copay, and he doesn't have to wait for. He doesn't have to wait for his deduction to finish. They don't want you to know that. They want you to just think socialized medicine. Here's the other thing that they don't want to tell you. We spend about, let's say, 50% to 100% more than any other country in the world. The hospital companies are saying, oh, if all our rates are reimbursed at Medicaid rates or Medicare rates, we will go out of business. They are telling you the truth. But here's the lie. The lie is this. We have so much more money in our system. If we went to Medicare for All, we don't have to pay out Medicare rates to these guys. The rates will go up. The rates will go up. So it's another misinformed, it's another lie. But that's how they're going to scare you. And that is how they're going to tell you that somehow your private insurance is better. Your private insurance could not possibly be better than Medicare for All, an insurance where we all pool our money and where we all then go to the doctor without ever having to take out a checkbook or a credit card. We show our insurance card and we get service. Why? Because we have already paid for it. It's not free. Now they like to market it as, oh, they want free health care. And then the crooks that call themselves journalists last night, raise your hands if you're going to give health care to illegal whatever. Well, you know what? If these people are here and they're paying taxes, they're going to be paying health care taxes as well. There are two separate issues. They will be paying their taxes out of revenue as well, out of their income, and it will go into general revenue as well. So of course they will get health care. But not only that, There is a solid rationale why they must have health care. Do you want undocumented people running around here with tuberculosis? Do you want them running around here with influenza? Do you want them running around here with all these other diseases when they are interacting with us all? I mean, sickness doesn't know nationality. Look, Medicare for All is the only answer. The only reason that they are spending the amount of money that they're spending to let you think it is bad is because, number one, they think you are a fool. They think you are dumb. They think you are that you somehow are scared of the word government as opposed to private, as if private always has your best interest at hand. Let's remember what private means, my brothers and sisters. Let's remember what private means. A private insurance company means I decided to offer a service so that I can make a profit. So therefore, I will try to give as little of that service as possible so that I can have a large a profit as possible. When you have a single payer system, whether run by the government or a nonprofit, I am telling you that there ain't no profit, so all the monies that come in goes out. This is not rocket science. This is an ideological block that they have instilled in our minds to fear something. They stamp it with the word socialism so that you get that visceral reaction within you, and then they can tell you anything and you will fall for anything, and then you will make those wealthy people who have the $100 million salaries, who have all these. Remember, whenever you see that CEO makes $100 million, whenever you see that CEO makes $40 million, that $40 million is your premium that was not paid to solve some sickness, some illness, something else. This is not about liberal or progressive or crazy left-wing liberal. This is math. This is math. This is economics, and this is reality. So what I try to tell people all the times, right, is you're going to get these commercials to scare people. They're going to go into Appalachia. They're going to go into everywhere to tell people these things. We need you, people who have trust in you. After you have been deprogrammed from the Powell Manifesto that teaches you to believe that somehow inherently private companies have your best interest at hand, you can then find a way. You know how best to talk to your people. You know how best to talk to your friends. You know how best to talk to your family. You know how best to talk to your children. You know how best to talk to these people. If you heard what I told Johnny earlier on, I am very optimistic because what I want to do, and many like me want to do, we want to plant the necessary seeds, and the growth of those seeds would occur throughout. And we don't want this to be where it's coming from above or coming from that TV screen, because you can see what that TV screen is doing. Let me play it again one more time, because I want you to see what's being done to you for the newcomers that are coming. This is it.
How long will you wait for care? In other countries with socialized health care, patients wait weeks, even months for treatment. Everyone forced into the same government plan, no matter how serious. Medicare for All would eliminate private insurance for 180 million people. You and every American waiting in the same government-run plan. How long will you wait?
Again, people, convincing. I can guarantee you they took that to psychologists. I can guarantee you they look to see what visceral elements within your psyche they could touch. I can guarantee you that is what they did. You can't fall for it. But it's not only you. You're listening to this program and you're absorbing what we're talking about, but it's a hell of a lot more than you. We need a hell of a lot more than what you're going to do. We need you to go out there. We need you to be the ambassador to truth. We need you to not only be out here. We need you not only listening and absorbing and knowing what's true, because that's not going to do a darn thing. You're going to know what's true, and you're going to know how you need to vote, and you're going to know what you need to support. But we need everybody. And That is the enemy that we have there. That video that I just showed, that is the enemy. They have hundreds of millions of dollars to put that video and others all over the place. And the only antidote to that video is you. The only antidote to that video is not Ali Velshi coming on TV and saying it, because a lot of people they just see that in passing. That antidote is you with conviction, knowing the data. You with conviction, knowing the data. That is how we're going to do it from the grassroots. It cannot come from above. The corporations, none of these corporations are going to support Medicare for All. None. And it's not that it's not better for the corporations. Okay, let's get this straight. Every corporation has a financial department. They know that Medicare for All is better for them. They know that if their business model does not have to involve having to have a department that handles health care, that it is better for them. But they all have been taught to believe in the slippery slope of government. Oh, if they take over, if the government now has a single payer system, what are they going to do in the energy markets when we want to pilfer the people? What are they going to do in any market where the private sector goes with a pilfer for something that is a must-have? And that is why I've always spoken about a bifurcated economy. We have an economy that exists in the private sector where laissez-faire reigns. In other words, we create regulations, rules, and go off and do your thing. Create. But things that matter, things that are of the commons, things that we all need, things that we need to survive, belongs with we the people. And don't let anybody says, well, oh, they invented that, so they have all rights to it. Nobody invented a darn thing on their own. We are all building upon the intellect of others. I was a damn good software developer. I'll promise you that. I was very, very good at what I did. I made chips do things they were not supposed to do, because in the days that I was programming, I actually my interface in software was from the software to the physical hardware, those chips that you see on these boards. And they were the reason I made good money is I made those chips do things that they were not designed to do. Oh, we need that chip to do that. Well, you either have to create a new chip and it has to go through all its, or you can get some software to do some magic on those chips and figure out how to get it to do those things. And in the day, that is what I did. And you know what? Am I making money off of all those designs? I make a few bucks off of a few of them every so often, hardly anything anymore. That's why I need support for Politics Done Right. But I tell you something. Was that, I figured out how to get an interrupt handler to do some special things on an 8250 and an 8259 chip. Is that mine? Hell no, it's not mine. What happened to those engineers who developed that thing? What happened to the University of Texas that allowed me to create stuff on that first microcontroller? What about that? Your intellect is so broad-based to sit down and think that you own it and that you are the sole person that should make all of that. Like Bezos thinks he owned that $160 billion is his. That's on the backs of everybody else. So when we are going to get Medicare for All and we tell the wealthy you're going to have to pay quite a bit more in order to take care of the entire budget, there's no shame. That is them doing what they're required to do for how good this country has been to them and the workers who have given them their labor for which they have mostly exploited. We have to get away from the thinking. You see, they teach us how to think. They teach us to believe that somehow these others deserve what they have, and that our labor isn't worth what they have, even though they would not have had what they have without our labor and our intellect. Think about that. That's what we are taught. We're taught that that investor, it is okay for that investor to come in, invest in something. You are the one, you are the intelligence that are putting these things together, and somehow the people who reap all the rewards are theirs. And then when you need health care, you also have to pony up, and you have to, for whatever measly thing they decide to give you, you have to decide to make it all work for you. We have to change our frame of thinking. We have to change our frame of thinking. Medicare for all, we cannot be fooled. It's not only Medicare for all, it's child care. There is so much. And you're going to hear me talking about Medicare for all every day. Some of you, and I want you to always stay and always share this stuff, because and I don't only want you to share it, I want you to understand it. And if you don't understand something, come to me and we can talk about it some more, so you can go to your people and have minds change. I'm going to answer the Facebook right now, but before that, I need to do a quick thing here. Folks, please remember this is a progressive show. We're trying to do what we need to do to make sure we move in the right direction. We do need your support. Please go to patreon.com/politicsdoneright. That is patreon.com/politicsdoneright. patreon.com/politicsdoneright. All the people who subscribe to our show get access to our books online. As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, which the entire book is online. You also get How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It. I'm on chapter 4. I did complete chapter 3, brothers and sisters. I did. So that is already up online that you can read. How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those. And if you know, of course, I've always spoken about activists have to keep in shape. I've now been in shape for several years because I almost died. I had a blood pressure 240 over 140. Yeah, that is what I mean. 240 over 140. Almost got a stroke. I even got some stories out of it because they ripped me off when I went to the emergency room. I gave that whole Medicare story, not Medicare. I gave that whole healthcare story and how we had to get around it. I mean, I'm not only talking this stuff. I've had my own company for decades and had to buy my own insurance and never went without insurance. Knock on wood. Now that I'm doing this full time, thank God that my wife is out there with a job now. She hadn't worked for 30 years. Now she's on a job that has health insurance that we can work with. That allows me, can afford me the ability to do what we have to do to make a better America, a better world. Folks, please remember, we need your patronage. Patreon.com/politicsdoneright. Please go to patreon.com/politicsdoneright and subscribe. Or as well, if you go to the top of our video, you see that we're doing a GoFundMe that we need to raise cash for some new equipment. I was hoping to have some of that equipment to take to Philly for Netroots Nation. I'm probably going to go on faith and get it, knowing that that many of you are going to come through. Anyway, what you see on the screen now are the different places and how you can help us. Patreon.com/politicsdoneright to subscribe. politicsdoneright.com/donate to just give something to keep the cause going, and store.politicsdoneright.com to purchase our good little products. And I want to show you something here. Let me show you our product line. There is our cup, the Politics Done Right cup. Why don't you get a whole lot of these cups and give it to your friends and say, hey, guy, here's a guy that's out there really kicking some ass. He wants us to get this country right, the right health care, the right everything. We have also T-shirts there. We also have all that good stuff. By the way, if you don't want to read the book online, you can just go to Amazon.com and get As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. I'm coming to answer some. I may go over a little bit because I was very wordy today and I don't want to deny anybody coverage. And let's go to the phone lines. Let's see, 6. I guess that's 573. Come on in, 573.
Hey, Burrow. This is Mike.
Come on in, Mike.
Mike Cisak.
Talk to me, my brother.
I just want to kind of throw something for you. I mean, since you're writing a book and all this other stuff.
Sure.
I tell you what. Why don't you do some research on a little known federal system called the Indian Health Service.
I know about it. Yes.
Yeah. And maybe do a show on it or something like that.
Okay, I'll
if
do
you
that.
would.
I know exactly where you're going with that, Mr. Cisak. Let me tell you something I want to get in your domain, right? There are a lot of things that are not run efficiently or not run right. You are absolutely correct about that. But we are the government, okay? When we do Medicare for All, we are starting something new. Not new, but we are starting something improved. And it's going to do us right to do it right. And that is what I am telling the people that I'm talking to right now. We are going to do this right because we are going to remain engaged to do it right, Mike. And you are going to benefit from it too. Mike is our good conservative farmer in the country. And thank you, by the way, for being a farmer. Not everybody has the balls to do what you're doing, brother.
Yeah, it's tough. I'm trying to get hay put up, and the weather isn't cooperating. We just had had a shower come through while I had hay down.
Mike,
anyway,
I want to tell you something, Mike.
Mike,
Beforehand, I want to tell you something because you're a conservative, and I give you a hard time, justifiably so. I give you a hard time, but I want you to know, I do appreciate your presence here, and I do appreciate what you do in this country, and I am saying that from the bottom of my heart. All right?
Yeah. Yeah, I just like I said, I figured maybe if I can give you some examples and stuff that you can bring up later at some point, that'd be great, you know.
Do so, my friend.
So,
let me go to this page and start answering these questions because I don't want to, I've been neglecting some of my folks online, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Talk to you. I gotta go.
Thank you, brother. Okay, all right. Let me go ahead and go through this stuff real quickly. Raising hands was versus childish. Agreed with you, Tom Hines. Michael Dean Newton. As a Brit living in the United States, I find the health insurance company health insurance frustrating. Every place I worked had a different plan. My costs went up every time. Are correctly endless yearly benefits meeting with big shiny brochures and tape. Think about if they, instead of having those big brochures, they had other things. They put that into healthcare. You're absolutely right. Tom Haynes. I was in the ER for 90 minutes. They charged me $5,000. My insurance paid $500 and I paid $80. This is all a game. You're absolutely right. Biden's past is so bad. Vinso, Russo, exactly, and it's going to show up. It's going to show up. I think people are going to see that. And people are going to eventually realize that. Okay, let's see what else I got past Rizzo. He said he's a conservative with a D next to his name. I won't quite put it that way, Vincent, but he is what I call him is a centrist or Republican light. Tom Hines, Tulsi Gabbard has sparked my interest. I've always liked her. I just don't think that she has the gravitas to win. Will E. Wombat, Biden is politic morality a constant state or does it change with the times? Biden is politic morality a constant state. I don't quite understand that, but maybe it's because I'm a little bit frazzled. Tom Hines, Joe will be 78 if he wins. I think that is something we should take into account. Rene Perpetua, I love the millennials that I know. Yes, because they work hard, Rene. Those millennials work very hard. I work with some, and I tell you what, like I say, they lead. I help. They lead. I help. As old as I am there to help the millennials get things right and to give advice where applicable. I love Bernie, and I think he would be a gift for 4 years. Yeah, I do too. I'm starting to have concerns after I saw him on the show and on the debate. He just looks like he's starting to slow down. Maybe somebody can tell me if that is just my imagination of starting to see these guys as looking older. Wombat says, is Biden being judged with today's political morality for actions of the past? Yes, he is. He needs better messaging, otherwise he's out of sync. And actually, Wombat, you hit the money. And I wish he would just come out and say, in those times, that's how it was. Not only that, I was wrong even for those times, but most of us were. We've changed, and I formed part of that change. If he came with that humility, it's not. But he doesn't want to appear like he's on an apologizing tour or something like that for some reason. It is sick. Rene, he is the real thing who stood the test of time. He is the real. So sad he may not get the nomination for poor reasons. I think you're talking about Bernie, right, Rene? Okay, Rene says she liked my optimism, and I remain optimistic, Rene. And I want all the folks that are listening to this show to remain optimistic because. Look, and I'm going to continue answering the messages, but I want to tell you this, why I'm optimistic. I am optimistic because things have not happened yet. We determine what's going to happen. We determine to throw in the towel or not. We determine how much we want to fight the mainstream media. We determine how much we are going to share. We determine how much we are going to do all these things. And that is the message I'm trying to get. And here, let's say I have 1,000 listeners, which every day I get between 1,000 to 3,000 listeners, okay? If each of those people were dealing with 3 people, and they deal with another 3, we get geometric progression and we reach millions of people quickly. But I'm not the only one doing this. There are other people that are doing this as well. And let's encourage those others to do the same. And I have to tell you other things, though, folks. You have to fund us. Please. You need to support us. I am on fumes. That's how I operate. If we are not funded, it's hard to do this because you still have to pay the bills. You still have to pay the high-speed internet. You still have to pay. I need a whole new crew of equipment right now because these have seen its time. But the optimism must be there. And the reason it has to be there is because what the corporatocracy wants is for you to feel useless. They want you to feel like you don't have an option, that you just have to do what they say, that you just have to take that job, that you just have to take that salary. No. You have to realize that if we actually work together, there are more of us than them. And that is their fear. And that is why they shut down a lot of us. That is why whereas I could have 10,000 people watching this show, I only have a few thousand a day and only a few real time because a few don't really get, if they're not, it doesn't constantly show in their feeds anymore, even though they've requested it. The reason why is all of these things are the clamp down choice. Okay? So what I'm saying, people, is this, but you have it. We only need 5 of you, 10 of you. Go out there and do it. Go out there. Spread the word. Share the word. And put that optimistic face on. If you have to initially fake it, fake it. I am not faking it anymore. I'm not pessimistic at all. I know we can get this crap done. John T. Floyd. Biden's response to question from Kamala Harris regarding his opposition to forced busing as part of the federal government's attempt to desegregate public schools. Smack of the old. That is exactly what I wrote today in a comment, John. That is exactly what I wrote. This is the problem with the old white guys who have been in politics for too long. Man, John, you are smart, but then we always knew you were smart, right? Rene Perpetua, I have not heard anything good about Kamala. Look, Kamala is going to get a whole lot of bad rap for being a prosecutor. I've heard a lot of bad things about Kamala too, but I'm not going to judge Kamala solely by the bad things that I hear because Kamala has 2 battles that she's going to have to fight. Kamala is going to have to fight, and I'm going to go about 7 minutes over today. Kamala is going to have to fight the battle of the angry black woman, okay? And I am not going to be a part of the parade that judges Kamala on a different level than I judge other prosecutors, right? If Kamala made some mistakes prosecuting because of peer pressure, because of what is the other thing that people do, ambition, and that sort of thing, if she comes and she says, look, I was ambitious, that's what I wanted, that's why, look, that's a flaw that we all have at times. Well, the truth is I didn't have I am very ambitious, but I never had the flaw that says I thought I needed to climb a ladder by walking over somebody's back. Never believed it. I'm too whatever to do that. But anyhow, you get what I'm saying. Now, Tom Hines, Biden did say he was a public defender and Kamala was a prosecutor. That was a slight that he was trying to put out there. Medicare offers plenty of choices. Medicare for all is the future. Absolutely correct. Rene Perpetua says, I get great care for Medicare. Yes, Rene, we know that. They're not, let's doubt it, show evidence. Like 25 million to CEO scam. I wonder if this stuff I've missed some message. Okay, Lee Grant says, we seem to forget the part of the purpose of private health insurance to protect one's assets in the event of catastrophic medical need. To say because of deductibles they never get to use their insurance is incorrect. Actually, Lee Grant, you're correct. I mean, you're correct, right? It's to protect. You're correct. What we are saying is it is too darn expensive. And the reason why it is expensive is because you have to pay the shareholders, and you have to pay inflated drug costs because all of these guys are profiting on your back for things that, in the case of drug companies, for drugs you developed with tax dollars. That's all I'm saying. The problem is when you mix things that are half truths or sometimes even full truths but spun incorrectly, we get into trouble. Medicare for All is the only answer. René Perpetua, the greed is killing us. René, that is a magical statement for today. René Perpetua has the magical statement of the day. In fact, she has the best statement of the day. The greed is killing us. The greed is killing us. And Mike Cisak has the worst statement of the day. The greed comes from leftists. Mike, I love you, Mike, but you're completely wrong, Mike. Support. Well, I see that René told you to support your ludicrous statement, so I'm with René there. The minority is killing us, the 1%. Exactly right, Tom Hines. René Perpetua, that we agree on. Let's see, Mike sees like a single-payer government monopoly would have to set policies to the same for everyone, even though everyone has different needs. No, that's not true. That is what insurance companies want you to believe, that we all have different needs. So what they do is they create insurance as a product. Insurance, and again, Mike, this is where the issue, this is where we differ, and this is where you have to be understanding of how you've been manipulated. People look at insurance that, well, I want to purchase baby care, I want to purchase maternity, I want to purchase testicular care, I want to purchase, no. We want to purchase health care. We want to purchase the payment of health care. And we don't know what's going to go wrong. That's what we want. Health care. It's not a product. It's humanity. Floyd. Time after time when progressive urged her to embrace criminal justice reforms as district attorney and then the state attorneys general, Ms. Harris opposed them to stay silent, wrote Basilan, the former director of Loyola Law School. Most troubling, Ms. Harris fought tooth and nail to uphold wrong convictions that's been secured through official misconduct and included evidence tampering, false testimony, and suppression of crucial prosecutors. I am going to have to read up on that, John, but coming from you, I know that, again, we develop our areas of trust, and I trust John. So I know that John knows what he's talking about. So I'm going to have to look into that completely and see how much of that needs to be in the factor when you say, well, that absolutely excommunicates or puts her out, that she cannot be trusted to be president. So let's investigate that, look in that, and see exactly what that means. But I know that if you put in that there, John, that you're absolutely coming from you again. You don't take it on face value from anybody. Coming from you, it makes sense. Okay, let's see. CSAC barking up the wrong tree. Yes, my brother, I love you, but you're barking up the wrong tree. Tom Hines, you can still mail a letter for 50 cents. That's efficiency. Of course, the government is absolutely more efficient than private sector, and that's by design. Profit is an expense, okay? But there's nothing wrong with profit. But there are certain things that we need to keep out of that domain. But profit in healthcare is an expense. That's a fact. I'm not even going to argue about that. Medicare tax only pays for half of the program costs. Another $450 is paid for out of general funds. If that is the case, and I don't know that, I don't think that's true, but let's assume that's the case, Mr. Cisak, then we need to raise taxes. Yes, Tom, I need a computer. If you take a look at my GoFundMe, you'll see that I am taking contributions to build up my new system. On the top of the video on Facebook Live and elsewhere, you'll see that I have, I list the equipment that I'm purchasing and that I'm asking folks to invest in because, you know, this is your show. Okay, René Perpetua, I think Bernie is frustrated and downtrodden. I don't think Bernie is frustrated. Bernie has been doing this for decades. And Bernie, look, Bernie is the one who started the revolution. Bernie is the one who gave the power to Elizabeth Warren. Bernie is the one who gave the power to everybody who's supporting Medicare for All right now. Thank you, Bernie. You know, when Moses went to the promised land, he didn't get in, but it was him who delivered. So let's not worry too much if Bernie is the one who is going to deliver. Bernie will forever be the person who likely got America on the right track from an economic standpoint. So let's not idolize anybody or whatever, whoever takes us over, all of us, Renee, all of you who are making that change, all of you who worked for Bernie, all of you who participated in the Bernie revolution, people saw you, and because they saw you, they jump on the bandwagon. It's not only Bernie. Bernie has ideas. You had ideas. Bernie's ideas are not solely Bernie's ideas either. Okay? It's a composite. It's all of us. Bernie is the instantiation, the representation currently, but don't sit back there and let's not idolize any one person, because that is where we fail. That is where we fall. I want Bernie to be rewarded as well. Bernie is already rewarded. If Bernie wins the nomination, or if Elizabeth Warren wins the nomination, the win will belong to Bernie, because Bernie would have been the one who changed the conversation in America. Okay? He would have been the one who changed the conversation in America. So let's not worry about who is going to become president, if it's going to be Bernie or not. What we need to make sure of is who is going to become president can be effective in becoming president and can last. I hate to say it this way, but my concern right now is the older folk right now, Miss Perpetua. Can they really last out an 8 years? And I'm not talking about dying or anything like that. I'm just talking about physical ability to do it when we go logical. Right now, Elizabeth Warren is on the cusp of age. She should do right. She would be president, I think, at 70, and 8 years would put her at 78, which at this point would be she would still be vibrant at 78. So I mean, I want what's best for all of us. And if we want to succeed, what we want to be is selfless. Right now, I'm not saying this to pat myself on the back, but right now, many of us are being selfless in what we're doing, because it's a lot more efficient to do other things. It's a lot more profitable to do other things, but we're doing this. But I'm going to close this program out. I thank you so kindly for going overtime with me. I couldn't do this. I cannot do this without all of you. I cannot do it. We cannot do it. It's a family thing. It's a composite thing. It's a what's that word? It's a collective thing that we're doing here. And we need the support from everybody. So I'm going to give myself one more plug, and then I'm going to leave. But I need to give myself one more plug, asking you folks to please go ahead and go to patreon.com/politics done right to support Politics Done Right. Our subscriptions are very inexpensive. So please consider one and choose one. Choose the best one you can. Then go to our store.politicsdoneright.com. Get a cup. And hey, CSAC, go get you a cup for Politics Done Right. You are one of my good old conservatives. Go get you a cup as well. Patreon.com/Politics Done Right is how you subscribe. Store.politicsdoneright.com. And here it is on the screen, all the different URLs that you can go to. Please, please, please support the show. We need your full support at patreon.com/Politics Done Right to subscribe. politicsdoneright.com/donate to donate. Store.politicsdoneright.com. And go to the top of this of our videos to get the link to donate to the GoFundMe. I thank you so kindly, everybody, for being here. I thank you so kindly for following. I ask you so kindly to share, because we have to be the ones that's going to make this change. We have to be the ones informing other people, because they're not going to be getting the information appropriately or correctly elsewhere. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you know how I'm going to end this baby. I am what? Out!
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3.